It is Wednesday, July 3rd, approximately 9 a.m. I'm about to meet with Moses Rodriguez from Code Enforcement and his supervisor. Not sure of his name yet. Test, test, test. How you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm all right. Matthew Palmer. Hey, Matthew.
Yeah, I don't know. Moses should be here. Even
Okay.
Here, inspector.
Yeah.
Is that what y'all have in question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's not screened for public view. We're going to have 6-foot high privacy fence, whether it's masonry or...
Well, that's 6 foot high.
Yes, sir. But it's not screened for public view. It's open. It has to be a privacy fence.
I guess that's the issue.
Okay.
Where is that defined in the code? And the reason why I'm asking is because I called your office and I spoke with 2 different people, and they told me that was up to the interpretation of the inspector.
Who told you that?
The first one was, what was her name? Who's the woman that, is it Amelia?
No, she's just an admin person.
Okay.
She's not a code enforcement.
But she also referred me to a code enforcement. Is it Edwin? Edward?
Edmund?
Edmund.
Yeah, he's in training. I don't know what information you got, but that's not screened for public view.
Okay, but it's not the problem. The problem I'm having is that screened isn't defined. There's no definition of screen. And I was very specific when I was asking these questions. What does screened mean, and what does wood construction mean? Does wood mean that you can't see through it, or it's made entirely out of wood?
It's solid. It's got to be solid.
It doesn't say that in the code.
And well, it depends on which code that they're using. It has to be screened for public view. In other words, you can't see through it to see it, and it has to be a solid.
But it doesn't. The problem. What I was told is that that's up to the interpretation. Both people told me that's up to the interpretation of the investigator coming out, and that's what I have an issue with, is that it should be consistent.
It is
all across town.
Yeah, that's the way it is all around town. We've gone through this. I can't tell you how many times.
But it's not defined in the code, so I don't see how it can be legally enforceable. And I'm not trying to fight. I mean,
it says, and I don't have them here. Most is supposed to be here with the codes, but the code is it has to be behind a solid.
It doesn't say
screen.
that.
Well, there's one that it does. I don't know which one that they've cited on you. There's 2 different codes that actually cover that: the RV and the screening. So,
okay, but what I asked for was a definition of screening.
Screening means you cannot see it.
But it doesn't. Public view. But where does it say that in the code?
In the screening, there's 2 different codes that can be used on it. The one with the screening means you can't see it from public view. We all know you're going to see the top of it, but you cannot see it through there. And it has to be a solid fence, privacy fence.
It doesn't. Okay, and then what's the definition of privacy fence?
It's a solid fence. You can't see through it.
Okay, so Moses told me that plywood would work.
Whatever, a durable material.
Well, it can't be a durable material. It has to be wood or masonry. So
you can use, people are using galvanized, basically like a roofing or whatever now. But it says in the code that it has to be wood or masonry.
So how are they using galvanized?
It's a durable material that you can't see through it. It's privacy.
But if the code says wood or masonry, how is galvanized acceptable?
Well, that's what's been accepted because you can't see through it and it's a durable material.
Okay, but this is my issue with this, is that this is so wonky that if the code says masonry or wood, why is galvanized acceptable? If it says screened, that's screened.
No, it's not screened from public view. You can see it. I can walk down the street and see right through it. That's not screened from public view.
But there's not a definition of screened. That window is screened, and you can see the window through the screen. And here's the issue. I called Moses. I was told that this was going to be up to his interpretation. I called 5 times over 2 weeks and never received a call back from him.
Okay.
And I recorded all these attempts. Okay. So every time I called, I have the phone records, and I also have recordings of me leaving him voice messages, and he never got back to me. And this was back in April when I did this. I had the same issue 13 years ago. And my first fix was I did bamboo matting, and the investigator that came out said that was acceptable. It looked like holy hell. And I redid it with this and called him up, and he came back out and he said this was an even better solution. So this has already been accepted over a decade ago. So
well, that was a bad interpretation.
But the problem is that this whole thing is being interpreted. It should be, if this is a law, if you guys are going to send me certified letters saying that I could be fined up to $2,000 a day, okay, that's a law. And the law shouldn't be open to interpretation. The law should be very specific on what this means, and this is all up to interpretation. How you doing?
Well, like I said, that's not screened from public view, and that's the bottom line on it.
Oh, I have one left in my door. Well, I would like to see.
Do you have it?
The legal
screened from
definition
public
of
view
screen
and everything?
Same code, solid wood or masonry fence.
That's made out of solid wood.
It's not solid. It's open space.
I need a okay, is a chain link fence a fence?
It's an ornamental fence. It's not a solid fence.
An ornamental fence is an open design that has a ratio, which are open, not more than 1 to 4.
Okay.
That is not solid. That is an ornamental. That's been defined before.
Can you go back to the other side?
To which one? To this one?
Solid wood or masonry. That is solid wood.
That's ornamental. It's been challenging the code, man. I told you, this isn't the first rodeo. Ornamental fence can go on a property line, and this is when it's talking about property ornamental fence. A solid fence is other than an ornamental fence. The high restrictions do not apply to ornamental fence. That is an ornamental fence. We've defined that. When people put...
Where is it defined in the code? When I go to look at something like this, and this is the issue, and this is what I was calling you about over 2 weeks, trying to get a hold of you, when I was told this was going to be up to your...
That's not going to fly in court. Trying to find me or trying to say that where is it going to find, you know, we can't tell you every ordinance that's out there. You know,
why? If you're going to enforce them, you should be able to tell me what they are.
The girls in the office can't tell you that.
But it was, what was his name, Edwin?
I don't know who that is.
Well, you just said. Is it
Edmund?
Edmund. Is that it?
Yeah, I don't know what...
Well, I recorded the conversation because I was
but
transferred
once
to him.
again, the bottom line is that is not screened from public view. It's not a solid masonry or wood fence. You need to put solid pickets in there like a typical privacy fence.
No, you said...
No. I said screened from public view. If you want to use a
you
galvanized,
okay, that's not pickets.
That's become acceptable because so many people have done it.
Okay, so if enough people do this,
that is not screened from public view.
If enough people do that, does that become acceptable?
What's that? That?
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. That's not screened from public view.
But if enough people do it,
No,
then
sir,
it becomes...
that is incorrect.
You just said that galvanized is acceptable because enough
if
people
it's
have
a
done
solid sheeting, screened from public view. Your whole problem there, it's not screened from public
view. But the
view.
code says solid wood or masonry, so how does galvanized become acceptable? This is the problem, is you guys are just interpreting this how you want to.
The problem is you're not listening to screened from public view.
It's not, screened from public view isn't defined. That's the problem, is screened from public view is not defined. That is screened,
Sir,
like that window is
screened
screened.
from public
You want
view.
a copy of this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
This is the problem, is that it's not defined here. That's a solid wood fence.
No, it's
That's
not
why I didn't
solid.
use masonry. I actually,
It's not a solid.
galvanized.
It's a wood decorative fence, ornamental.
It's solid wood
It's
construction.
not solid.
It doesn't say that it
Okay.
has, it doesn't say. It doesn't say that it has, that it can't be see-through. And that's the problem. That's what I was trying to get a definition on. Is the solid wood mean it's made entirely out of wood, or
It's
you
not
can't see through
screened
it?
from public view.
It's screened like that window is screened. What's the definition of screen from public view?
You cannot see it from the right-of-way, public view.
Even if we could see the top, Matt, it wouldn't matter. It's done its purpose.
Well, no, I understand that. I understand
The
it.
6-foot fence, but we get complaints. You gotta understand, we do this for a living. We get everybody in the world who wants a challenge. But that's why we have attorneys and stuff. That's why we have Board of Adjustment. If you want to go for variance and get that approved, you're more.
Why should I have to go for a variance for something that's not clearly defined?
They're the only ones who can do the interpretation.
It's not clearly defined. You guys are doing the interpretation. That is a solid wood construction fence.
You could get a ticket in 15 days if it's not screened, or you can go get a variance.
It's not solid.
There's no trailer right there. You can't see anything underneath it. You know, here's the issue. Go talk to that woman right there and ask her what she prefers to see around this trailer. Talk to the people that live here. I know who's calling this in, and this is retaliation for something that's been going on in this neighborhood. But talk to the neighbors that live right here that have to deal with this. They don't even want the fence. But this looks way better than what's been approved in the past. You know, and I put this up before you guys got involved. I spent a lot of money. I actually did it right. You know, it's not falling over. It's not just stuff leaning up against a trailer. You know, I'm trying to actually do a decent job of this. You know, so kind of what you're backing me into is either a fight or making it look like holy hell so that whoever called it in doesn't call it in again. You know, so
it's not screened from public view. That's the bottom line.
Okay, then can you go back to the complainant and tell them it's going to look a lot worse?
That doesn't matter. The civil side of it doesn't matter. It's not.
Well, it does
screened from public
because we can make this go away. Does he want to pursue this and it looks like absolute crap?
Once again,
What are you gonna do? You gonna put the plywood? Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, you said that would work.
Yeah,
Plywood's going to look like absolute crap. That looks a lot better. I mean, the intention as soon as that all dries out is to stain it or paint it. You know, I mean, I bought all pressure-treated lumber.
Yeah.
I mean, this was made to last and to look somewhat, you know, like I said, they're like, we prefer just the trailer. She keeps asking, why don't I get a say? I live next door to it. When is somebody going to talk to me? When you have somebody complaining 3 blocks over or on the other side of the creek on that street, walking his dogs in here, how does that supersede what the people that actually deal with this? None of these people have a problem with it. And I understand that you guys have a job to do. But I need to be able to, I had to leave the fire department on disability. I have to be able to move those panels. I mean, I looked at doing full-on pickets. I can't lift them.
Well, that could be your hardship in the variance.
I'm not going to try to go for a variance. I'm just going to make it look like shit.
Okay. Then you avoid the ticket.
I avoid the ticket, but nobody's happy.
Well, we close the case.
Yeah.
I know your neighbors aren't going to be happy, and you're not going to be happy, but we'll be able to close the case.
Closing the case isn't really the solution. I mean, making it look like crap.
If you want to change the ordinance, Matt, you're more than welcome to challenge it. It's been in existence for, I think, since 1993. It says there in the bottom. Look at it. I think it says there on the very bottom. So, 1999, but that's probably the update. And then it was updated in 2011. I mean, it's been in existence, I think, since the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, with that ordinance. But it's been there. You can challenge the ordinance to get it changed. But until you make it, you get it changed, this is what we've dealt with. And you're not the first one. We got a guy, I told you, he's in court right now for the same thing you're leaving it at.
Well, you said his looked pretty bad.
Yes.
Okay.
But he's in court for the same thing. He's saying that is a fence, and he's got a citation, and he's going to have to deal with it at the judge. We don't think we need to go there. We're hoping that you'll fulfill the violation by you screening it, and that's it.
Okay. Will you go back to Damon and tell him what my options are? Tell him that I have the option to make it look like absolute crap, and that's where it's going to go. And see if he wants to. See if, and what I will do is I will pull the trailer out. I can do it right now. I will put it right over there, hooked up to my truck, so then it is in compliance, and we can close the case.
You're going to leave it out there in the street.
You guys are, that's the beauty of your guys' initiative now. You guys are complaint driven. Okay? I take it out, you close the case.
Okay.
And tell him.
I'll come back on Friday.
Okay.
Or after 12 if you want. But I do not call back the complaint and tell him if this is what he wants or she, if this is going to make him happy. All I do is I get the violation cleared, and that's it. But if we see it back again, Matt, we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to send you an affidavit, and we'll see you in court. If it's back in there after 48 hours and it's not screened, after 48 hours, because you can always come and load and unload. You know, that we know. You can always do that.
Okay.
It's just like a boat. You know?
Okay.
But if we see it back again, we're not going to come have this conversation, and we'll just have an affidavit filled out, and we'll see you in court. I think the easiest thing is to screen it, and we'll give you the 15 days if you need it. And if you need 30 days, this is a man who would. I can only give you 15. He could give you 30.
Okay, if I put black screen material behind that lattice, will you accept that? So that you can't see it.
The fabric?
Yeah.
That's not a fencing material.
I saw it, man. I saw it on North Crest. But nobody saw it. I saw that black material.
Oh, I haven't even seen it.
I saw it on a chain link fence. But that is not acceptable. He did the whole fence on North Crest. Over here. He did all the fence. And I'm thinking and it's 6 foot. And I'm thinking he's you know, he's not going to get a call. He's not going to have to deal with it. But if we get called on that fence, I will have to tell him the same thing I'm talking about.
Okay. And I'm not trying to be argumentative. Why is that not acceptable? If I can use galvanized, which is not in the code, because people are using that, and that's not a see-through material. Why can't I put the material on the back side of that so that you can't see through it?
You can't use tarps or any material like that. Not
tarps. Like what if I got screen? I mean, where you can't see through it. I need the airflow. I mean, I can go get some plywood and just start leaning up against this thing. It's going to blow over. It's going to look.
No, it has to be fastened. It has to be secured.
I've seen people put like the posts, and they do those pickup fences. In West Austin, we get this a lot. And they've done it to where they prefab it to where every door can be removed.
That's what this is. That's what this is.
But solid. Take it. And why actually put wheels? He moves it.
But why can't the material be used? I mean, if you can't see through it, if galvanized can be used, and that's not in the code, why can't the material be used on the backside of this so that you can't see through it?
If you could put it in your property, screen it with a 6-foot fence, it's in the backyard, it's away from public view. I think you have a way to put it there, right?
No,
not a bigger lot?
No. I can't get it past that tree. My question is, why can't the material be put on the backside of that? So you still get the air flow through it. It's still lightweight, and you can't see through it. Why is that not acceptable? If galvanized, which is outside of the scope of the code, can be used, why isn't that a solution? If it's you're not going to be able to see through it, why is that a problem?
It's not going to be a durable material.
Oh, well, if it rips and tears, then I'll fix it.
You know, you're just skating around.
Sir, I'm not skating around at all. If galvanized is outside of the scope and is acceptable, I honestly don't understand why I can't put material on the back side of this that's made for outdoor use, it's going to screen it. It's not. You're not going to be able to see through it. Why can't I do that to keep these panels lightweight so that I can move them?
Well, I mean, if you can get a judge or somebody to say that's okay, it's not okay with us.
But why?
It's not a durable material. Fences aren't made out of materials like that. It's got to be a durable fence.
That right there is a durable fence.
That is, yes, sir, but that's not screening it. It's not a solid fence.
But if I put a material behind it to make it solid, why is that an issue?
Well, I can see this conversation's not going to go anywhere. So,
well, I just don't understand the logic of it. If the code says it has to be masonry or wood, if you're then saying that galvanized is acceptable, which isn't in the code, why isn't a material behind there acceptable?
that's not a durable material for weatherization.
Where does it have to be a durable material? And if
Well,
it starts to rot and
it's fine, we just put posts up and people would just wrap their houses around with a wrap. They wouldn't use a wood or masonry or anything to have a durable material.
this is a removable fence. It doesn't have to be. This isn't a security fence. It's a screening. If the material starts to tear or rot, then I'll replace the material.
Mm-hmm. Well, all I can say is that you get an interpretation from the judge or whatever, but that's not our interpretation of it.
I just don't get the logic of that. I mean, I'm trying to work out a compromise. I'm trying to work out something that's going to work, that's going to look halfway decent, so my neighbors aren't subjected to a plywood fence. You know, so why can't we take them into account? You know, if
then I would have to have a code for every neighborhood in this city.
Well, that's kind of what you have, because you guys are interpreting it how you want to interpret it.
And it exists for the whole Northfield, Hyde Park, North University.
But it's not spelled out specifically, so there is leeway for your interpretation. The code doesn't say galvanized, but you're interpreting that galvanized is okay. And that's my point. So why can't we interpret that the material is on there? If these panels started to fall apart, it would be up to me to repair them to keep it screened. So if I put the material behind it, and a year from now, if it's no longer screening it, then it's on me to replace that material to screen it.
You said you want to deal with this for now and forever. That's the only way.
What do you mean?
Solid wood.
How's that dealing with it now and forever?
Because you said you don't want, you 2006 or 2003, we had a case for the RV, and I think
and this was accepted. No, I sold it. I sold it to their in-laws. I sold the trailer, which is why it all came down.
Yeah.
But
and that was then. And today, the only way, I told you I'm already leaving this area, and the only way we're going to satisfy that code is by doing a solid wood masonry, or you getting an interpretation by challenging it in the variance.
Masonry, or wood, or galvanized.
That's what he's saying. But that's not what's in the code. He's allowing it, and that's fine. If why galvanized, and he's allowing it, I will close my case, and I will put closed.
Why can't we allow the screen then?
He's allowing you to galvanize because it has been a thing. I've done it one time. I did one time galvanize. But out here, my other boss, he doesn't like it. So if he's allowing you,
that's the problem. Is that this isn't a consistent thing. This is supposed to be the law. You're talking about going to court. You're talking about going to court, letting a judge decide it, which means we're now dealing with the law.
Yes.
So, and that's my issue with this, is that the law should be very specific. The law should state exactly what screen from view means. It should say that you can't see through it, what solid wood means, because that was the whole thing I was trying to get a definition on before I built this. Okay? So when you're talking about going into court, it is now the law. Galvanized is not in the law. If you're going to allow that, then why can't we allow something else to screen this?
I don't think we've gone to court over galvanized. We haven't gone to court.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point. The law is the law.
I
and
understand.
you guys are interpreting the law how you want to interpret it.
I understand. And if you want this to go away, you do wood, masonry, or you remove the RV from
Don't
here.
forget galvanized.
Galvanized. And you remove it from here, or remove it from here. You have those two options. You screen it, or you remove it from here. We close the case. But if it does come back, because I think you're going to bring it back,
Oh, I'm absolutely going to bring it back.
yes, and it's here more than 48 hours, then we'll issue an affidavit, then you can talk to the judge. But that judge is just going to grant you that one day. He ain't going to give you a blessing forever. It's just that one day, one violation. He cannot change the ordinance. He's just going to challenge that day.
Or he could say that it is okay because the ordinance doesn't define it. Why can't he?
He's not the city council. City council has to be brought up to city council to change the ordinance and make an amendment to it. Or take it for variance. And the Board of Adjustment can make a ruling if this is a hardship for you to move this. If you put it all solid. They're the only ones, $360. You go for variance, you set it up in August, and we'll wait.
I shouldn't have to pay $360 for something that's not clearly defined. I'm not getting a variance. This isn't like it's sitting in the setback, and I'm trying to get a variance on something that's clearly defined.
You can get a variance on a screening.
But this isn't a clearly defined issue, which is why should I have to pay $360 for something that's not clearly defined?
We cannot say this is it. That's why there's a commission. They make rulings.
About what?
We can't say this is a good. You put cheating behind it, we cannot say that.
You can, because you can say that galvanized is good.
He's letting you put galvanized. He's letting. I would never say galvanized because that's not in the code. He's letting you.
Where does the code say that you can't see through it? Where this is concerned.
Solid wood. This is an ornamental. That's why I gave you the copy of the ornamental. You have a ratio, one space of more than 4, 1 to 4. You have that opening there.
Okay, where does it say that it has to be durable, that I can't put material behind it?
It doesn't say.
That's the problem. Okay. If it doesn't implicitly say you can't do it, you should have the freedom to do it.
Let's go with the code. Wood or masonry. That's a durable material. That's why it says wood or masonry for the fence.
You're going to call me back and decide what you want to do, or you want to screen it, or you're going to go for the variance?
I'm not going for the variance.
Okay.
You know,
You can grant the variance if you show hardship. Show hardship. You have to show hardship of why the solid fixtures would be hard for you to move them. You would have to. That would be your hardship. And you have to be sure that there's not going to be anybody who's going to challenge it, because if your neighbors, you have support from your neighbors, you might get it. But if you don't, you might not get it. It's a draw. But they can do this. They can say if they're going to allow
paying $360 for something that's not clearly defined is extortion.
Well,
okay.
That's the only
Leaving this up to your guys' interpretation when it isn't implicitly spelled out isn't right. You know, being able to just on the fly say, I'll accept galvanized, but I won't accept this because...
But you can't challenge, if you go with Mr. Smart, that's the next step up. Mr. Smart. Mr. Smart's going to tell you what the ordinance is.
Okay, who's that?
He's our director.
Okay, then that's who I need to speak with.
But he's not going to give you the interpretation other than say the sheeting's going to be okay. He can't do that.
He can.
He can't. The ordinance is set there.
The ordinance is, there's nothing that says that you can't put a screening material behind that. This is up to interpretation. That's my problem, is that if we're going to deal with the law, if this is going to go to court, which there's a very good chance when you start sending these certified letters threatening to fine me $2,000 a day, there's a good chance this is going to court. Because that's the only way you guys can enforce that is in court. So if we're talking about going to court, then we need to have a clearly defined...
We're not going to change the ordinance.
I'm not asking
change it.
I'm not asking you to.
We don't have
the problem is that you guys can interpret it.
Yes.
And that's what you guys are doing. There's nothing that says that I can't put a screening material behind that. If the issue is that you can't see through it, then I can put a screening material behind it.
So with this meeting, what do you think is going to be the outcome? Do you think
I want to speak to your director.
and you're thinking he's going to give you the okay? I told you before we even had this conversation.
This is what I'm going to do.
And
Yeah.
he told you the same thing I told you
Okay.
a week ago.
Okay.
And you said it bothers you.
I'm going to, and it does. So I'm going to take this to your director. I've already called to set up meetings with individual members of City Council.
Yes.
And eventually this will probably go to court. Okay. So before we go to court, I want to exhaust all of my options, which means not just filing a lawsuit now,
Yes.
but speaking with your director and trying to get clarification on this. Because the issue is, this can be interpreted by you guys. It's not clearly defined. I'm not asking you guys to change the code. I'm asking you guys to use a little common sense.
I don't know
To
how
give me
his
a
schedule
solution.
is next week. I'll try to make it next week if he can. If it's in 2 weeks, that's what it is. But you'll have to ask in writing an extension for 14 days if you're going to screen the fence or go for a variance.
Okay, so you can't extend this while I'm trying to get a meeting with him?
I can't.
Why?
I have a protocol. After a certain time period, you June 14th, June 25th is when I gave you the notice. It was sent to you.
I didn't get it until Friday. You told me
Yes.
that
It
this
was
doesn't start
certified
until the 28th.
June 26th. That's when I got it certified.
No, I
14
signed
days.
this on June 28th. That's when it was delivered to me. It was on Friday. After I spoke to you on the phone call I had with you on Friday, I hadn't received
14
it
days
yet.
start after that,
Okay.
June 28th.
Okay.
And then you can ask for an extension.
I'm asking for an extension right
It
now.
has to be in writing. It has to be in writing. Because I got to show protocol to him. Because he can check up on me if I'm just verbally telling you,
Okay.
you know, you have to send it to me in writing.
Can I write it to you right now?
You can send me an email.
Okay.
You have my card.
Okay.
Say you want 14 days.
Okay.
But I wouldn't do it until the 14 days have expired. You know, we're talking about June 28th. We're talking about the 14th will be probably June 12th. You know. So July 12th, send an email saying you need 14 days. And then we'll grant you 14. I can grant you 14 days. And then if you need more time, he would be the next. And then I'll ask Mr. Smart when he's available to have this meeting. But in those 14 days, and if this meeting happens, regardless, we're still going force with our violation. If the violation still exists, I have to
Wait, if
write-
there's a 14-day extension, then
Yes,
then
I
you're
have
not
to
writing
wait.
me.
No, I have to wait after the 14th. But
Okay.
if you're going to go to city council and all that, after the 14th that has expired, I can't wait, you know, until all these meetings happen over there.
Well, then you said I can go to him for another extension.
Yes, sir. And it's up to him if he wants to grant it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Alright.
I think we know where this is going.
Thank you, man.
Oh, do you have a card? Do you have a card? All right. Thank you. Thought you got pictures of it the other day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so when will you get back to me on meeting with the director? I mean, can I call him directly?
Yes, sir. You can call Leah Warren.
Okay. What's the number for that?
I'll get it. I'll get it. Yeah, because I don't know if it's off until Friday.
Okay.
Let's schedule it. He's going out of town. That's, you know how my name and his name are like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Leah Warner, it would be the same at Austin
Wait, that's the director?
No, that's his secretary.
And this is direct line to her?
Yes. Yes. You call her,
Okay.
but
And what's his name?
Carl Smart.
Carl Smart?
Yes. But that's how you can email her too. If you need to email her, we're all the same. Jerry.Reynolds, Moses.Rodriguez, Leah.Warner at Austin, Texas, and ask her that you would like to have a meeting with the director as soon as possible, and she'll tell you when you go back.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm.